Oh, wow. Oh, I
Amazing.
remember Philippines.
Yeah, I'm excited. Mikhail, I haven't had the opportunity to connect with you, brother. I'd love to share or you to share a little bit about us. Felipe, brother, it's nice to see you here. It'd be amazing to see your beautiful face.
Hey, give me a minute. How you doing, Eric?
Yeah, it's good to see you. I'm so excited that you're here, man. Mikhail, do you want to share a little bit about us, about yourself, brother?
Yeah, sure. Name is Mikhail Alkin. I was born and raised in Australia.
Yeah,
I'm actually a business partner with Rinat.
amazing.
So we're on a journey to start our own company, hopefully. So working IT at the moment.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, got a newborn at the moment. Is sleeping, so we're on cruise control for the moment.
I love it. I love it. And so, how do you and they're not? So you and they're not? Are you also in the Tony environment, or no? Are you just kind of? Are you guys know
I
each
sort
other
of
from?
Yeah, somewhat. I am a part of the Tony Robbins thing, the arena, the
Cool.
inner circle thing. But I got introduced through Rinat. So we did the business mastery together at the time. And we've been on the journey from there. So gradually I am getting more and more into the events.
I love it. And Rina, it's good to see you again, brother.
Yes.
How's things been since we last chatted?
Oh, crazy. Uh, every single day, so packed with events and stuff. Uh, almost like 18-hour days.
It's interesting how time goes by so quick when you're doing the things that you love, hey?
Yes, but I do need to remember to take care of myself, which I often forget.
Yeah, I think this is the fundamental concept. I mean, at the end of the day, the most important thing is to take care of ourselves. We got Stuart coming as well right now.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I mean, I always find that if we have our health, we have everything else. It just naturally comes into every other capacity. Stuart, what's happening, brother?
G'day guys, how you going?
Amazing, man. Good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. Good to
So
be
nice
here.
to meet you, brother.
Abs-
Amazing, bro. We were just getting started. I would love to know a little bit about you, bro, and what you're up to in the world.
Hey, so I'm a trained engineer, moved into healthcare sales, got a family, two girls, living the dream. So yeah, no complaints, mate. Met Renat and joined a really good community and looking to kick goals and yeah.
I love it. I think we were just talking about health and intentionally creating that level of lifestyle from our health and um, integrating from that place fundamentally. Because if we can't give to ourselves, we can't give to anybody else. What do you think?
Oh, look, absolutely. I think one of the things over the years I've really neglected my health. I put a lot of other people, I've just thought I put work first, I put other people first and things like that. But I think I've learnt in the last 12 months that really concentrating on both my physical body, but also filling my mind with good stuff really make sure that I'm in a good place to be able to give everyone else the best that I can.
100%. Yeah, health is wealth. And I love that you integrate the mentally strong part too, because I've noticed, sometimes as men, at least when I was starting out, it was all about physical, and it's like the mental part is such a big part. Felipe, my brother, I'm so grateful you're here, man. It's so good to see you.
How you doing, man?
Good. Where are you at?
I'm at the office currently at Miami.
Nice. Nice. Do you want to share a little bit about yourself for anybody that doesn't know you or isn't aware of you or hasn't connected with you yet?
Oh, sure, sure. Well, nice to meet you all. I'm Felipe Gris. I'm originally from Colombia. I'm based in Miami like half of the year, but I'm very nomadic. So I tend to travel the other 6 months. I do public speaking seminars like Tony Robbins, but for the Latin American audiences and in Spain once a year. So yeah, I've been modeling Tony. I sometimes I joke about it because I said the only thing I do is translate it to Spanish, but it's not true. I tweak some stuff, but of course I'm not gonna invent a seventh human need or things like that, you know. So I just give the big man credit and then teach the people in Spanish and after they graduate of all my programs, I take them to Tony himself. Last summer we were in Europe with my group, and four of them signed up as Plats. So my one of my best friends is like, those are $400,000 you'll never see again. I'm like, I don't care. I need to pay back the big guy because I use all his content. So yeah, that's pretty much all about me. This year I'm launching my brand in English. I mean, it's not that I cannot do it in English, but I've been doing it in Spanish just because my following is in Spanish. So I'm excited. Now I get to teach some of the stuff in for the English community. So I'm excited and I'm cheap now. People are enjoying it a lot because, of course, I'm new in the American market. So I just trying to test it out and have some fun with it. I'm gonna be Felipe Gray, that is Greece in English, and my company is Great Training. I call it Great Training, the endless growth. So Great Training is short for great, and Felipe short is feel. So I'm gonna have some fun with it because I'm gonna be feel great in English.
I love it.
So,
Yes.
Nice.
yeah. So yeah, who are you? Like, I'm feel great. What do you do? I make you feel great. That's it. I cannot get shorter than that.
We got to get you to go to Australia, brother, so that you can integrate the English version of Feel Great into Australia, since you're doing it in English
That'll be
now,
fun.
bro.
I was there
Yeah.
last year actually for a wedding in Australia. I enjoyed it a lot. It's like a different planet over there.
Yeah, and it's a great market because everybody, like lots of people, are super open to stepping into feeling great. Would you fellas agree with that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
totally.
definitely.
Yeah, I think the Australians can also enjoy a little bit of a cheaper Tony Robbins. So
See,
yeah, I
so it's
mean,
a
because
better.
I was, how we started. You're like, how am I? One of my excuses was like, how am I gonna compete with Tony's budget and with Tony's all of that? But I'm like, okay, in what ways I'm greater than Tony? I'm like, well, I'm cheaper. I have time. I don't charge one-on-one for my private coaching. So yeah. And the main thing is Tony Robbins didn't have Tony Robbins, at 35 years old, right? So that's a big advantage.
Yeah, I always say that we get to stand on great shoulders, just like in not just Tony, but like a lot of the people that we get to read and things like this. And it's amazing that we like Napoleon Hill or Andrew Carnegie or any of these books that we get to read now. It's the exciting part is we get to stand on those shoulders as we start to build a new way of looking at the world and building the world within our businesses and things like this. So I'm so grateful you're here, Nat, dude. And I'm happy that you're going in English, man. That's amazing.
Sure, we need to do some podcast or something.
Yeah, of course. We're gonna do lots. We're gonna do lots. It's amazing. I actually reached out to Gerald the other day as well. After your thought when you texted me, and I was like, I gotta send him a message. And so we're already talking about maybe getting him into the Thursday space. It'd be good because for you fellas, just so you know, like on Thursday we do Burning Man Adventure, and Gerald, one of our brothers that's part of the community, he is big into Burning Man, and he's also super connected, in devotion, on the path, in service. And it's all about like us coming together now, because really we have to take responsibility for what's going on in the world. And I believe that if we stick together, we get to create a really powerful and sound future for our next generation versus kind of that limitation of what has society has tried to project on us for such a long period of time. And so I'm excited because we get to work with amazing kings alongside each other, like you brothers, right? And I think this is our responsibility in this lifetime, which is what is amazing, because Tony has been able to bring us together, and now we get to build together as well, which is cool.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure.
One thing I like about Tony, I think it's not only that he doesn't mind, he actually encourages us to do the same what Felipe is doing, like learn from me and go take it to your loved ones and bring more people together.
Yeah, that's actually one of my, I mean, it's very interesting that one of the questions, I mean, when I'm in front of Tony when I've been in front of Tony in the Plat events, I have literally a list of questions, like what's the top, because you get to ask like one or two questions directly to Tony, right? So I'm like always like taking my time to know like this is the next question I'm gonna ask him. So I think that's how Tony remembers me, because he always tell me like, "Huh, you be doing your homework, right?" So I was like, I wanna take advantage of those questions. But one that I never got to ask him is like, is Tony Robbins not training the next generation? Because you can become a trainer, you can become a senior leader, but there's not a clear path to be on his stage, to be Joseph McClendon or Scott Harris. So I'm like, why he could be, like having everybody in the world as a funnel towards, being in the biggest stage of self-development, right? So my hallucination is that I think he still see himself like a hero, like a martyr a little bit. Like it's not a job that he will recommend for everybody because it's a lot of sacrifice or whatever. So that's my conclusion, right? The main task for a single cell is either to become immortal or to pass the message forward. So since Tony, I don't think he's giving, the torch forward, that's why he's creating his own AI and becoming immortal. That's my hallucination.
I have a different perspective. I would
Please
love to share because
Yeah.
I believe that as Tony says, success leaves clues, right? So he drops hints in everything that he says, and there's a lot of integration that he does, like from Napoleon Hill, from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and then as you go through those books and you go deeper into the teachings, you start to spiritually develop a deeper understanding of your sense of self. And then once you continue to go down that path, you start to refine your own internal nature. And so he's actually constantly evolving the message in terms, from my perspective, in terms of giving us the seeds that we need to plant within ourselves. And then as a result, he's actually passing the torch for those of us that can hear it. And so what I mean by that is we are able to tap into the messaging of what he's delivering, because he stands on great shoulders of great teachers that come before him. And so whether we read any of his books and once we go into his books, he like gives a lot of clues inside the books to then go deeper into the teachings spiritually, financially, emotionally, physically, physiology, philosophy. And then you learned from Ralph Waldo Emerson, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, any of these other guys. And you start to define and understand, wow, like a lot of these teachings come actually even before Christ. And then that becomes a philosophy understanding. And so these cognitive tools that he gives us, we tap into that emotional intelligence. And from that emotion, we get to step into the physical mastery. And that was my biggest curiosity, brother, is like when I was like so paying attention to his state, like his focus, his emotions, right? His language, his physiology, like the state was something that for me, I was learning by just like a child to the telepathic communication that comes through as a result of all of us paying attention to each other. And the more like it's like the fifth agreement that Don Jose Ruiz talks about, is about listening. And when we can start to listen, we can start to hear the all the little droplets of value that he's regularly delivering. And for me, that's when I spent time in Brazil, it all just came together. It was in that complete silence where I was like, boom, 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 like it just all made sense, and it started to integrate from that space of complete passion and devotion. And I believe that all of us have this access, all of us, and it's so important because we're all mirrors. And the most ancient version, there's this old ancient proverb that if once you start to discover that you're actually here alone, you'll start to step into the mirror and recognize that everybody is your mirror of the best parts of you or the worst parts of you, depending how you look at it. And that's what I remember also Sage saying to me. I remember I was like, bro, I was telling Sage Felipe, I was like, I love Tony so much, like still fanboy back then, like I love him. And she looked at me and she said, Eric, what you see in him, it's already in you. And it didn't make sense. And it didn't make sense because I was still coming from lower chakras. Whereas now I get it, because the more that we open up to the level of infinite intelligence, because we're all so infinite, we can then pass that on and open that capacity to everybody, because that infiniteness, or what those limitations of too muchness or to this or to that, all that bullshit, those stories, they're projected at us by society all the time, right? And so this is the thing that we get to discover within ourselves. I believe that that's been the greatest gift in my experience, is that we get to then step up to where that any environment, any circumstance, any devotion, any goal, anything that we want to really deliver, we walk into those fucking environments and we just shake it up, because we know that we're in service to that sovereign state that we all have, that sovereign state that we're here to deliver, we're here to give, we're here to be, without a shadow of a doubt. So that's my perspective.
Well, you went deeper on that, but my point is, like, of course, I mean, don't get me wrong. Of course, Tony's, being a mentor of mentors for many people around the world. And I've met the Tony Robbins of Japan and in Spain, and, some students of mine called me the Latin one. I don't think I deserve it yet, but one day. But my point is that there's not a clear path. Like, there's not like a seed program where he's, training the next speaker. And actually, when he talks about in RRI that this ESOP thing that he did, that now the employees own the company, I'm like, yeah, but what are they going to do when Tony's gone, right? They need to put somebody else on stage, or at least 10 that can try to, deliver the way as Tony. So that was my point. Like, if I were Tony, I had like a fucking academy, like having people compete around the world, and to be on that stage, and maybe support Joseph McClendon and Scott Harris, that probably they're gonna still be on stage, but they probably need some young blood over there. I don't know if Carissa has done her job, and now she's leading the Unleash Her Power Within. She convinced Tony to give her that. I think that's great. But yeah, I think if Tony wanted it, he would create it. He would exist a more clear path toward not only people share it with their loved ones. My point is, somebody delivered at that level to 30,000 people at a time. So yeah, maybe, I don't know. I just have that sense that for some reason he's not doing it that clear path. And I don't know what are your thoughts, but I don't know what's going to happen when Tony's gone. Maybe he's projecting to have some hologram there of him and his AI, delivering the content.
I don't know. So far, I've tried his AI, and it's like nowhere near to Tony.
I thought it was pretty good still, I mean, of course, it's not an intervention from Tony, but to use it for RPM or to remember, some basic stuff about human needs, I think is good.
I keep telling to people around me that whenever you have like a clear structure, that's the easiest thing to offload to AI when you have a clear structure. And that's what I like about Tony's methods. I mean, all his interventions, they actually follow like a set, algorithm, and all his stuff is so like divided into simple 2, 3 things, 6 needs, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I think AI could do good actually,
Yeah.
especially given like he's got thousands of hours of content.
I think that's what is gonna make his AI great, that they have recorded everything, right? So they're
Mm.
probably giving so much data to the thing that is gonna be great. Because I agree with you, there's a clear path, but yet I haven't seen anybody do any strategic intervention like Tony, right? Because I mean, he has kind of a structure, but sometimes that's neuroassociative conditioning, right? That's what he teaches in, well, the team teaches in Leadership Academy. But sometimes what I saw is that from step number 3 to number 4, after the leverage or breaking the pattern, sometimes between those two steps he used he's so resourceful to make
Mm.
sure to get the leverage from the person. There's so many mini steps that he uses before he goes to the next one, and that's when that's the one thing that I think AI is going to have it a little hard,
Yeah,
since
I,
to
I like
replicate,
for
right?
us, now that we have Platts with us, like with Tony during his events, I feel like he has some kind of, I don't know, this meta vision or some kind of like understanding, like even when he chooses people from the audience, I feel like he just, I don't know, he sees some kind of energy or something like.
Well, I don't want to be the one spoiling the magic, but I know the trick. Yeah, because it's like when you learn the trick of a magician, you're like, oh,
No, I mean,
it's like,
I know there's questionnaires, I know the trainers are working, and he's like getting all that feedback from the trainers and the team. But still, like, I don't know, even like you said, when he does an intervention, sometimes he like, I can feel it sometimes when like he's leading the person to a certain like, I don't know, conclusion, answer, and the person resists sometimes, but like Tony already knows.
I'm telling you, do you want? Should I spoil the magic or not?
I don't know.
They said ignorance is bliss.
No, but he also said the truth will set you free.
I'm asking you. You want the truth? It's not as pretty as the magic.
No, I mean,
Now
obviously, I want the truth.
he has an air plug communicating with the team.
Okay.
So that's how the team is like, okay, look for this person that says is gonna kill themselves, and then they're like, hey, we already organized the order of the human needs, so go for significance, go for certainty.
Mm.
So ask him about the brother, ask him about the husband. So yeah, that's how they do it.
But that's amazing. I mean, like that even.
Bro, I've tried it in my seminars. I get crazy when these motherfuckers start talking to my ear. I want to scream like, shut the fuck up, I'm working. So I don't know how Tony does it, right? I mean, I can imagine like it's probably a really trained team that has done it for decades. I'm guessing that's the number one paid person in the company,
Yeah.
right? Because nobody can tell, that this is happening, right?
Mm.
And by the way, it's not that I'm 100% sure. I just deducted, right? Because when he's doing the thing and
Ah,
and like that's why you were thinking is magic. It's like how he know that asking this the person was gonna cry, and so it only makes sense, right? And I've seen sometimes Tony going like this, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Like it's itching or something. So I'm like, I mean, and why wouldn't he, right? It's
Of course.
they is invented those things that you cannot even see,
Mm.
and why wouldn't he? Like he has probably 30 trainers or something there, analyzing the data in real time.
Yep.
Like it's even if he doesn't do it, he should, right? So, but yeah, I'm almost positive that's how he does it. And I've tried it, but bro, I'm telling you, it's like having another brain that you cannot control talking to you. It's fucked up.
No,
So
actually,
when I was at Date with Destiny, and I ended up doing the mission statement on stage, it was like the shark fin. It wasn't Tony, it was Joseph. But what they do is they actually work with you prior to like really hard on kind of what you're doing, and they get to know that you're really confident in delivering in case something happens. And so that confidence creates more certainty in the trainers, and then I imagine that that's how they communicate, but it's beforehand. So like Tony has a very high level of spiritual intelligence as well. And so there's an element that he's completely connected to. And not, you talked about like the element of feeling, right?
yep,
Of,
yep.
oh, you felt this. And so he has that times 100, you know, like he's like, because when we're in any of us have access to this, because we are completely connected. When we're connected to ourselves, we're connected to our highest sense of selves, and as a result we can start seeing that level of intelligence in each other and around. And that's an element of communication from the divine that we're actually receiving from a different level. And by the way, Tony is completely connected to his own divinity. And so we all have that access. It's a direct connection. We just need to discover that. And so this is like, yes, there's communication happening from trainers. I've never seen the earphone like being even close to him and give him a hug and a kiss and things like this. But nonetheless, the point is that I do really believe that he actually bases it off of his own feeling. And I've seen the level of commitment that he gives to people as well. And that level of devotion, it comes from this natural communication that he feels. And it's why all of us feel it. I believe that it's not like I don't believe that it's a played out kind of perspective. I believe it's way more deeper than that.
No, I mean, I don't think it's play. It's just we can say he's connected both ways because, I mean, Eric, I actually I
He's
got
resourceful.
yes, teamwork is dreamwork, right? I put it as the slogan for our team. Mikhail is part of our team at where we work as well. So yeah, I mean, why not? But I feel like he has these, you know, different types of connections with the audience, with the team as well. And yeah, I mean, I can hear it all the time. I spoke to the senior leaders, the trainers, and actually with the I know even with trainers, he has like different levels, right? So
Correct.
there's one level for results trainers, one level for plat trainers.
Master trainers, senior trainers, all of
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
that's
Well,
what
guys, I have to run. I have a meeting in a couple of minutes, but it was great connecting with you guys. I didn't know what you were doing here. I was just, a little curious and I had a little time. But maybe we can connect on WhatsApp. Let me leave you my phone and yeah, we'd love to go back to Australia. I mean, you cannot say you knew Australia by going one time, like it's fucking continent, you know. I have so many
I've
things to
been here
do
7 years. I can't say I know Australia at all.
there. Yeah, I got to only to go to a couple of cities, but I would love to connect with you guys and see if I have family there. So my uncle and my cousins live in Adelaide, so I'm planning
Oh,
Oh
to
wow.
nice.
coming back soon.
Oh, I didn't
So
know you had family there. I love it there. It's amazing. Felipe, well, grateful to see you, brother. Thank you so much for dropping in, man.
Thanks, Felipe.
no, my pleasure. Good to see you, Eric. Nice to meet you guys, and
Likewise.
let's stay connected.
Yeah.
Big
Sure.
love.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
I think
Mikhail
I'm the
Stewart.
luckiest one. I know everyone here. We've met with Felipe in December in A Date with Destiny.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
Nice.
Felipe is a good man. I got to know him years ago. And I love him. He's just a good energy. He's a great spirit, you know.
That's amazing. I'm looking forward to doing Date with Destiny this year, so I'm up for it. We've got, I think, Wealth Mastery next month, which is exciting. So I think even the message from Tony at the moment, I think I've listened to a lot of his content that he delivered early on. And I think just over the years, he's refined the way that he delivers messages and things like that. And I really think some of the stuff that he's doing in his older age as well, he delivers it so much more powerfully than he did when he was younger. Yeah, I think whatever he's doing, he's learnt to refine the process, and I think it works. So
I think
um,
that's why it works because he's practicing what he's saying. I mean, that constant and
yeah,
never-ending improvement. You can see him like, reading all those questionnaires before the event and then all the feedbacks after the event, like every single time.
yeah,
You guys know it's also the application of the way that he lives his life, right? So, what I love about this is that teaching, the teaching is like, as you know, or as you've heard, cognitive, emotional, and physical mastery. When the three align, right? It's who you are. It's who you become. It's you walk those shoes. That's embodiment. That's what I say is it's actually when you can find all of those pieces of what he teaches and also go deeper and see where that comes from and then find that within yourself and then step into that and do that emotionally with everybody that you connect with. There is an element of integration that then shows up in each moment where you're spending time with any individual, doesn't matter where you are, right? And so that is the component of full embodiment, is full physiology, full state, full knowing. And that is the part of it that I believe, like from my perspective, it's not about there to be like a one new Tony. That it was never like that with Jesus or Buddha or Napoleon Hill or Andrew Carnegie or like. And Tony is also just like that. It's actually about all of us learning how to integrate the beingness so that we can fully be ourselves and treat people with what they call the golden rule. Do unto others as you would like to have done unto yourself.
yeah,
Yeah. I wrote down this insight from what you previously said. I think we only appreciate in others that we have in ourselves. And that's why, like, when Sage said that you appreciate Tony, you love Tony that much because you already have it in you. Because, I mean, I'm surprised when I see some people that, call Tony names and, like, he's a thing, he's just robbing people off and whatever, like, the fool must leave the money, whatever. And I now understand that that's how those people feel, and that's what they see Tony as a reflection of their inner state. So if you have that beauty in you, if you have that wisdom in you, then you can appreciate what Tony is giving.
yeah. Well said. I couldn't agree with you more.
Mikhail, you want to share anything, brother?
Uh, I mean, everything has been nicely said. I don't think I have much to add. But I am very new to the Tony Robbins environment, so I'm still learning. But this is fantastic listening to you guys emphasize on everything. I really like it.
You gotta ask
Right.
him
So
how many hours he slept. He's got a newborn baby.
no, but do you see how beautiful this is? So what you
Yes.
literally just emphasize what we were just talking about, right?
Yeah,
So you literally just like, okay, I'm not very new, but I'm listening and it resonates and it feels good and I like what I'm hearing. And so this
definitely.
is actually the immediate embodiment of what we're talking about. Do you see how fast manifestation happens when we're paying attention? And so this is the thing, is that most times is that we're not even aware of what we're aware of, right? And so this is what I believe, like just right now, you know, Tony is able to pay attention to moments like this in a group setting of, you know, 20,000, 10,000, whatever. And in that moment, he's like, okay, look, here's the pattern. And that's why the feeling of what Renat and I are talking about, or what we were talking about with Felipe, you're feeling right now, because it's connecting to that inner self, which you are always having that capacity to understand, because we're just serious reflections. And once we pay attention to the feeling, that is how we start to move through life, because we're actually very similar, because we are all one, right? So the interconnection of that knowingness, that beingness, that simply understanding of the way that we get to move forward, it's not about any one of us rising. It's about all of us rising. It's about everybody defining their unique light, shining like the sun, and moving through life like that, because we all have different gifts that we get to give to each other. It's just different, right? Your experience is going to be different than my experience. And as a result, our unique, thoughtful conversation gets to create a new momentum. So we get to build a new future, because otherwise, if you're just following one person and you're not curious about all of them, from my perspective, you're limited. If you're curious about all of them, if you're curious about everybody that you meet, if you're having that time, place, and reverence to listen to people, then as a result, you start to hear different perspectives, and you get to decide which one really resonates most to you.
Yeah, very well said. I mean, during one of my speeches last month, I said, like, there's like 8 billion people currently in the world, and then billions before that. And we all have, you know, this different culture, different beliefs, different understanding. But the ultimate goal for everyone, I feel, is the same. Some people call it salvation, some people call it, you know, success, some people call it fulfillment. But the ultimate goal is to be true to yourself and be integrated with the people around you, with yourself, with the universe. That's, I guess, what you call salvation. Like, everyone wants to be happy in the end, if you call it simply. There's just like billions of ways to get there.
Yeah. And you're right. It's the same thing with you know, what we believe in, that higher power. Everyone knows that there's some sort of higher power. It's just everyone's got that different path and different concept of what that higher power is, and we're all trying to connect with it in some way. Some people say it's God, some people call it the universe, some people call it nature. It's different, but that is another one of our internal desires, is to connect with that higher power as well.
Definitely.
I'm curious, what do you guys do to tap into your internal power, or inner power, or higher power? Like, do you guys, we were talking about health and wellness earlier. What is it, something that kind of resonates with your experience in terms of feeling more interconnected within yourself? Like, is there anything that you guys do?
Oh, there's a number of ways. I mean, I only discovered like meditation last year, tried it for the first time. And today, actually, just before the meeting, I was listening about the Reiki book. So yeah, I feel there's like a number of different ways, but there definitely is something. I mean, even this Master Co, when he does these meditations, you know, and like you can feel the power, you can feel the something happening. Maybe we can put a name to it, give a feeling to it, but there is something, and I'm seeking it.
I think from my perspective, I've tried to do meditation. I've tried to previously do priming. We had a 100-day challenge, and I was trying to set myself up and do priming. Um, make my move and all of those sorts of things. And I think I started a lot of that out without doing it with any purpose. I knew I was doing it, but I didn't do it with purpose. The voices kept coming into my head. I started a new job. I needed to deliver a strategy, and a whole lot of doubt came into me. Particularly, not feeling as though I was enough, feeling I was a fraud, all those sorts of things. And it gave me the opportunity to really go, you know what? Let's see if this stuff actually works. And I sat there and you know, 2 days before, I really primed with purpose. When I went into the bathroom at the office, I looked in the mirror, I looked at myself and I said, you can do it. I made my move. I stood there for 30 seconds. I could feel the power that was growing within me. And I still had doubts when I was delivering, um, but I was able to suppress those. I was able to deliver a presentation. I've been able to consciously know when I'm, having those doubts in my mind, move them aside, converse in a really confident manner. And I've had people come up to me and go, geez, we're so glad that you're here. You're so strategically focused, and we need that as an organization. We've never had this before. And I sit there and I go, like the first time he said that, I was like, wow, I've been able to bluff my way through. And then I was like, no, you can do this. This is what you're here to do, and you can do it. And now I can sit here and I go, you know what? I'm covered. I know what I'm doing in this job. I'm 100% confident in my abilities, and even what I don't know, I can figure it out. And I can 100% put that down to the Tony Robbins program, but also I can 100% put it down to that I figured out that whatever you do, you've got to do it with having that purpose behind it, not just rolling through the motions. And I think that's what I was doing at the start. I was rolling through the motions, and I wasn't understanding how it was going to affect me. But then when I needed to put it to the test, I had that tool in my belt. I had the arsenal there, and I'm 100% convinced on you know, it's not one set of tools. All these programs give you little bits along the way. Like, and again, I'm sorry for ranting, but even the
You're
simple,
not ranting. Don't apologize.
even the simple, every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell. The amount of times that I've woken up feeling like crap and just looked in the mirror, said it, started laughing about it, and then feeling great. It's the simplest, catchiest little thing, but it's made such a huge difference just in my own mental state and how I feel in my body. So I think everything I've learnt along the way in the last 18 months has just been a fantastic journey for me.
Yes, now that I had more time to think, I think Stephen Covey said it nicely in The Seventh Habit. You got to do physical, spiritual, social, and mental improvement continuously, right? So I was just, as you were speaking, I put down the things that I do every day or like on a weekly basis to keep myself in that state. So exercise, meditation, my coaching sessions with the coach, reading, listening, incantations. These are the things I think that give you that conviction, that sense of purpose. And this is what I think people have felt in you when you had this prior priming, right? People will feel it, will notice it, even if you think that's not enough. Most of the time, to be outstanding, you just need to be like 2 millimeters.
But
Yes.
Sorry, just have to check on the newborn.
I think that this is that point, that 2 millimeters, like he suggested, is like that's the biggest shift. I mean, the 2 millimeters, like we do a little 2 millimeter trajectory change, and it goes like it becomes a mile, you know, a lot more. You know what I mean? But the point is like this knowing of the way that you're communicating with that calmness and peace. I could see it in you, right? So you're really able to gather your thoughts, to sit there, and to say, this is what I'm feeling, this is how I'm thinking, that you're internally connected, and then from that space you can strategically develop any type of experience, right? Because from my perspective, calmness is the biggest superpower when we communicate. And so the power comes from like knowing how to use your pitch, tone, physiology. All of these things are so important, right? Because this is really the communication. This is like 7%, right? But this, like the movement, the body, this is, you know, this is about, I think it's 39 and then 63, or sorry, 53, 54, whatever. Sorry, the math is probably not. But the point is that the body, the facial expressions, and the least is the mouth, or like with the language that we're saying. So it's like, I always find that when we're able to have that conversation with peace and sincerity and listening, that alignment of what you talked about Stephen Covey, even the 3 levels of mastery, like Tony talks about, that just aligns and it becomes simple. It's no force. It becomes power versus force. Dr. David Hawkins, he talks about this in his book. Nothing to prove, right? When you don't have anything to prove, you know who you are. That's when you show up in your full sovereignty, because you know that it's you're walking the path, that you don't the stage, like the stage is the planet. The stage is how you serve each person when you meet them with reverence, is how you walk up to each individual, is how you connect to them, is how you treat them. I don't care how much, and trust me, I love I love meditation and working out and breathing and doing all these things, but I don't care how much of that you do. If you don't treat a person good, like, it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like the bit about nothing to prove. I think that if you can deliver something in full calmness, full conviction, you have nothing to prove. You're just putting it out there. This is where people will feel that and connect to that.
I agree with Renat. Renat is like a role model for me at the moment. He's somewhat coaching me as well, I could say. Otherwise, I've always been this sort of short-fused person. I could easily get sparked or something, but over the last year, I could say at least, I've sort of, you have to sort of teach yourself how to stay calm and collected and communicate properly. Otherwise, things just go haywire. You just spark a fuse, and for what for? So you sort of have to hold it within, keep it together. It's important. So I guess this is where all the priming and meditation and whatnot helps in a way.
You feel like you've been holding it in, like limiting yourself, or do you feel like holding it in terms of like, can you unpack what holding it in means? Do you mind?
Holding it in as in instead of just sort of, exploding in some situations where, something might make you feel uncomfortable or aggravated or whatnot. You sort of hold that in, like you don't need to explode at the person in front of you. At the end of the day, that's another human being. Everyone makes mistakes, so they could say something wrong. Then there's no need to be triggered, I guess you could say. It's about how you sort of accept them, and then you sort of find a nice way to re-explain everything to them. to sort of, I mean, it's something I'm trying to work on still, to be honest. I do have that. I mean, I'm a Taurus at the end of the day, so I'm very patient. I'm a good listener, but if something sparks, it sparks. Renat knows that. But yeah, so when you're holding it in, I'm more talking about trying to stay calm in that sense.
Beautiful. I always get curious because like whenever like I think of temporary failure, temporary defeat, or things like this, those moments of that feeling, right, where you feel triggered by somebody, or something is happening within you where you feel like you need to hold it. Those are the moments where I ask myself, what is it in me right now that I am feeling? Like, what am I needing to work on right now? Like, that is power, because that question starts to get me into a place where I realize that what just showed up in front of me is something that I have to take responsibility for.
Definitely.
And when we take that ability to respond, or that responsibility, at least from my perspective, this again gives me the ability to navigate so that from my internal journey, it doesn't show up outside of me again. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Because if we know that we are all reflections and mirrors of each other, and there's a level of resonance and dissonance based off of energy, and as we know, everything is energy, right? So is it possible that if we do the work within ourselves and ask ourselves that refining question or understanding, and then have compassion to ourselves, will that go away? I don't know. You tell me, what do you think?
Actually, this is exactly what happened to me during the last UPW. It was online. And I had that exact same feeling. And I'm so grateful that I was able to tap into it, because, we were working on these limiting beliefs and whatnot. And I'm like, oh man, this is my second UPW. Obviously, like I've got nothing left there. But then some guy in the chats, he triggered me. He's just saying all these, nasty things and whatnot. And he's like, this is all marketing. They're just selling us this, that, whatnot. At first, I got mad at him, but then I'm like, wait a second. This guy is out there somewhere on the internet. Obviously, he's like miserable or something, or like, why is it triggering me? And I'm like, okay, so there's something in me still that resonates with whatever he's doing and triggers me. So I need to work on that something, exactly like you said. So uh, thankfully, I messaged the senior leader, and I'm like, look, this guy is triggering me. So this is something in me. I take responsibility for my reaction to this guy's behavior. And we were able to work it through. And there was another limiting belief, which we were able to uncover because of that experience. And I could work on. And yeah, okay, he was a trigger, but the problem was in me. It was my other still uncovered deeper limiting belief that I was able to tap into and hopefully work with it going forward. So absolutely, I think if I lose my inner peace because of something or someone, of some trigger, then there's something still within me that I need to, you know, uh, tighten up or work on, or to restore that inner balance, inner peace.
And this is a good question to ask ourselves, is when you express yourself with calmness and peace, when that inner peace is quote unquote unbalanced or uh, interrupted, what's the best way to respond?
I don't know, take a pause.
Yeah, I think that's what I've learnt to do more than anything, is take a pause. And I don't think I definitely haven't analyzed things as much as you have, Renat. But I've definitely, if someone's triggered me, I've kind of I think Tony said it was like, is that really true?
Oh yeah.
Um, and I think I've done that a couple of times and just gone, is that really true? And then come up with another story to calm myself down, and then just kept moving on. So have I looked at anything if it's and I have heard that before about some of the negative things being a reflection of, when you feel negative about someone, it's a reflection of the negative that you don't like about yourself. And the things that you like about other people are the things that are within you that you may not necessarily notice. I have heard it, but I don't think I've spent the time to analyze it and look at it. So I appreciate the discussion because I will.
I believe that when we get in that place of total calmness and there is a trigger, and you are capable and willing to be compassionate and peaceful with your communication to that person that is, or people or community or whoever, and you could have such a powerful state of service to yourself and such a grounded level of intelligence without needing to get angry or charged, right? But you can still use your energy and your physiology and your power. You are completely in your center. You are completely in a place of knowing what you stand for and who you are. And from my perspective, this is something that allows grace to come through you. It allows our natural divine teacher, our great teacher, to use you as a vessel at that point. And this is why it's so important, from my perspective, for all of us to understand that it's not about a clear path to get to a element of alignment within ourselves, because we all have a different path. And that's why it's so beautiful, because if we really pay attention to what Tony says, success leaves clues, or any of our other prophets or teachers that have come before, it actually allows us to understand and identify the unique seed within ourselves. And as a result, we get to then be an example just by being. Because communication, most people aren't aware of the telepathic communication of energy that's being communicated as well. Right? We're living in a new awareness as a society.
I'm taking so many notes. This is amazing. Ah,
Nah, this has been great, guys.
Fantastic.
I took a full page of notes, and then there's more.
So brothers, I'm gonna do, like, we're gonna do this every week. So I hope you guys come back and maybe feel free to share. And ladies, men, let's grow this. Let's make this a fun experience. And we can just share about kind of how our weeks are going. I really find that by just being here for each other and by sharing, whether it's business or spirituality, health, whatever, by being here for each other, we get to then grow a really strong knit community. And I'll send you guys, actually I'll throw it in the chat right now so you guys can have access to it. There's our Telegram community that is now growing around, but if you guys have Telegram, you guys are welcome to join, and then I'll just express. These are all guys like we're creating from different places, from London to Bali to here in Canada, Australia, Dubai, people from all over the world. And so we're building shit. We're making shit happen. So, but yeah, you guys, this is just like, let's keep this going. And it's not just about, it's like, for me, it's about integrating into building a better future for our next generation. Right? It's about creating projects. It's about building together. It's about looking after each other. It's about a dynamic of just serving each other, right? Like, so I'm grateful that you are able to, help and like you reached out and you're like, let's do this. And then I'm grateful to you brothers for showing up and saying, hey, like, I'm interested, because it takes more of us to multiply. And then, so let's just keep sharing this to people that want to show up, and we just keep holding that space of light, being the lighthouse. What do you guys feel?
Amazing.
I love it. I think this is a great thing, and yeah, look, I'll definitely be on the lookout for some like-minded people that can benefit from being part of the group. I think this is amazing.
Cool.
Definitely.
Do you guys want to share any last comments? Anything you guys want to share? Anything?
Thank you so much. This was brilliant. Can't wait to expand this group. It'll be fantastic.
Honestly, like, first of all, I want to thank Stuart as well for joining. The moment he joined, I love his energy. And
Likewise, mate.
you can hear his like loud and energetic voice, 8 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday. Yeah, I think this energy, I mean, Tony said it even in Sydney in UPW, like, energy is the currency of life. This is where, yeah, it's all pure energy. The energy that you bring to this meeting, the energy that you bring to your workplace, to your family, to your business, to your employees. This is what we have to give, I guess. And last week, I discovered this human design stuff. Thanks to Eric, by the way. This is how this meeting started, because of that human design thing. We are part of a group on WhatsApp, and some lady was she did like a 5-minute human design explanation of Eric, and then I'm like, oh wow, I want this as well, and she did mine as well. And one thing I learned about myself is that I don't have that my own energy. I mean, I hope I understand it right, but I can channel the energy of other people. So this is where I feel like I need to get around people who have that good, positive energy, vibes. So thank you all for being here and sharing your energy with me.
Thank you.
No,
Bless you,
thanks
brothers.
for organizing. Thanks for being on and being there as well, Eric. It's awesome to meet you. And Mikhail, congrats, mate. You're surviving being a new dad. So good on
Yes.
you, mate, for making the effort to be here, and also, work on yourself. It's a really important time in your life. So
Oh,
good stuff.
Thank you.
Stuart, we haven't met each other in a while, but we did register our company with Mikhail this week. And yeah, we're going to open the bank account today, hopefully.
Exciting. Well done. Good job.
Nice, guys. Congratulations. Big celebration. Woo!
Yes.
Yes. I love it. Fellas, I can't wait to see you next week. Big love to you guys, and thank you again for everything.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Thanks, guys. Catch ya. Bye.
You.